Hello Delhi, how you doing? Okay, I know there are people from Kanpur, Lucknow also, but we are in Delhi. So, hello Delhi, how you doing? Much better. Thank you so much, and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Mind Mingle. I am loving this Inspiration Festival, and I hope to add my 2 bit to this. I'm Parzaan Dastur. I have been an actor since I was a kid, but I'm here to share what more I have done, what more I have learned, and maybe some things y'all can learn from me today, and maybe it'll help y'all in the future. I'm going to try my best. Before I begin, I just want to go briefly into history. When I say briefly, I mean a few million years ago. When early man was there, what do you think? Who was the strongest man when early man was there? I think it was the guy who could make the fire. Then later it became the guy who was the strongest when the Olympics started. Now it's no longer that. Now the best guy, the biggest guy, the most successful guy is the guy who has the most information. And if you need some information, where do we all go? Google, exactly. And I am congratulating y'all for not being born in the early man stage and being born today, where information is right here at our fingertips. And I'm going to try and tell y'all how y'all can use that information for your benefit. So let me just start by giving y'all a brief about my life. I started off with school, like all of y'all. But apart from school, I did what is called dubbing. Do you all know Dub Smash? So I used to do Dub Smash in real life way back in the 90s when Dub Smash wasn't there, of course. But I used to do dubbing for ads and for children in other ads. And I used to give my voice for that. I used to go to a sound studio and do that. Then I also got an opportunity to act in ads and in films like the Dhara Jalebi ad and Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. But more importantly, I learned a skill during this time in my life, and that was to play the piano. And I learned it since I was 7 years old, and it was my mother who really pushed me for it. One day my parents, when I was very tiny, gifted me a small like a toy piano, and I just did some tunes on it. And very much like Trupraj's father said, he identified Trupraj's talent at a very young age, so did my parents. And they sent me to piano classes. And I've been learning the piano ever since. And I have one at home and I practice not as often as my piano teacher wants me to, but I still do it pretty well. It was this stage of my life, and my biggest teacher and mentor in this stage was my mom. She pushed me. She pushed me so hard. She was so good at her studies. She made me get like a 98 in maths in ICSE without tuitions because she was so good at it. And it is her knowledge and thanks to her love of maths and science that I love maths and science. And she was my biggest inspiration in this part of my life. Then I came into college. Now you'll see 4 letters saying SIFE, SIFE. That stands for Students in Free Enterprise. You all might have heard of things like Enactus India and Students in Free Enterprise. These are organizations that help students do something and give something back to the community. So I was part of this team at SIFE of my college, HR college in Mumbai, where we had a project called Project Chirag, where very much like Himanshu Patel, we went to, of course not as heavy as the work he did, but we went to some villages outside of Maharashtra, even all around the country, and we helped those villages that did not have electricity. We gave them solar panels and solar lights so that at least they can start the development in their villages using that solar power. With solar power, there's so many benefits. They could do simple things like read in the night. Children could study. Their health benefited because people would not get bitten by snakes because they would have a light to travel at night. And this really got me all the way to the village which I had never been to. A poor village where people barely had a home, barely had food and water to eat, and made me interact with them and really opened my eyes to what the world is. So in my first stage, I gathered information, learned the piano. I gathered information when I was working in my dubbing and my acting. And now I gathered information from the villages and what sort of treatment they get, what sort of life they live in the villages. And of course, there were my friends and my personal growth. I identified who I am. I came to know my likes, my dislikes, how I love media, how I love marketing, how I love films, how I agree with the previous speaker when he said that films are a fantastic medium to inspire. Don't we all love films? Can I hear a yes? And when we see a hero do something in films, we want to do it too, right? So it's a great medium to inspire people to do something more than they want to do. And apart from all that, a big inspiration in this part of my life was my dad. Very honestly, the way he treats my mom is fantastic. I have learned from the best there ever is. There has never been any question about whether my mom is allowed to work or not. So many women today are not allowed to work, not allowed to be independent in this country. My dad never even thought of that. And I look up to him, and I hope that I can be even half as good a family man as my dad is. This brings me to the next part of my life. I finished college and then I thought, chalo, what do? I really, really wanted to be in films, but I didn't know what part of films I wanted to do. And I think being an assistant director really helped because it got me close to a lot of people who are in the field, and I could understand each and every aspect of filmmaking. So I assisted Karan Johar on Student of the Year. You all know Varun Dhawan, Siddharth Malhotra, Alia Bhatt. That was their first film, and I was assistant director on it. I also assisted Puneet Malhotra on Gori Tere Pyar Mein, and this movie called Fitur, directed by Abhishek Kapoor, who's also directed Rock On and Kai Po Che. And I learned so much from these three movies, how films are made, what goes into making a film, why it takes almost 1 year sometimes to make a film, or even more, from scripting stage all the way till release. And that's the information I gathered in this phase of my life. That's where I have reached now. I've finished becoming an assistant director, and now I want to get back into acting, and I want to make films of my own. Now I've reached that threshold of my life where it's a little confusing. What do I do? Now, everything up till here was planned. Everything from now on becomes unplanned. And I'm not sure what's going to happen. But there are a few learnings I've learned in this phase which I want to share with you today. I was sitting with Abhishek Kapoor while we were working on Fitur, and I asked him, I said that child actors have it very tough. Not all child actors can get the success that other actors get because people don't want to see them grown up. They remember that child face and they say, nahi, humko wahi pasand hai. Tum wahi karke dikhao. So many people have come to me and said, do that acting again, Tare Ginne Ka, do that, say that dialogue again. And they want to relive those memories. And don't get me wrong, that's very flattering, and I'm really happy to do it for them. But I also need to move on. I think I can do so many more characters and performances. So I said, what should I do? Do you think acting is the right thing? Do you think I should get into it, or maybe I shouldn't? And Abhishek Kapoor said to me, Parzan, if you think that's your weakness, turn it into your strength. Look at it like you already have people who know you're an actor, who know you're a good actor, who like your work. Use that to your advantage. Did Varun Dhawan have that when he starred in Student of the Year? No. He worked hard, of course, but he didn't have that base. He said, you have a base. So, like a seesaw, like a lever, like a fulcrum, push something so hard on the other end so that it propels you into success. So use whatever information you have gathered up till now and become a pro at it. Identify your strengths and use them to your advantage. Some of you all might have learned guitar when you were young. Some of you all might have learned different languages when you all were young. Some of you all might have learned coding when you all were young. And so many different things, I probably can't even think of them. Sit back, evaluate and see, does this really make me happy? And if you're good at it, practice it, and tomorrow you can become so good. I am rest assured that all of y'all will be on this stage one day, and I'll be sitting there clapping for y'all. And I really want to see that day. So that's why the P is represented very nicely, simple, correct. P stands for planned. And now the other side, it's a D, and it's a D, guys. Some of y'all are looking like this and all. It's a D. But it is ulta. It is completely upside down. Anything could happen in my life now, and I don't even know. And I'm not in complete control of it because I haven't planned it. But there are some learnings that I want to give you all today that might be able to help you all. Number one. Who here has heard their mom or their teacher say कि बेटा 10th कर ले उसके बाद बहुत easy हो जाता है, don't worry 12th 11th 12th तो आराम से हो जाएगा. Have you all heard this? Yeah. That's not true. That's not true at all. Life is only going to get tougher. And why tougher? Because today your decisions are very tiny. अभी मुझे TV देखना है, अभी मुझे खाना है, अभी मुझे पढ़ाई करनी है, अभी मुझे क्लास में जाना है. Tomorrow your decisions are going to become bigger. You all will become company owners, CEOs like these boys over here. You all will work in companies. You all will probably be in the creative field. Whatever you do has a larger impact then, and therefore, what we've all been saying today, a larger responsibility. And handling that is not easy. It's tougher. But that does not mean it's impossible. I have one more thing to ask all the children over here. If you have ever any questions, you all will first obviously go to Google. But if Google does not have the answer, I urge you to go to anyone, teachers, principals, parents. Ask any question. If you want to know something, ask the question. Don't sit and think, maybe my question is dumb. Let me tell you a rule. No question is dumb. कोई भी सवाल stupid नहीं है. पूछो उसे. और अगर कोई आप पे हंसे, अगर कोई टीचर आप पे हंसे, and teachers, principals, I'm telling you all, please do not laugh at their questions. It just discourages them and they will never continue to be curious. Don't laugh at them. Ask your questions, kids, and get your answers. If your parents can't answer, it's okay. My parents, they don't know anything about acting. They don't know anything about music. They don't know anything about the media field. One is an accountant, one works in a bank. And they don't know anything. But they've always said that if you want, we'll make you meet people who know something. We'll take you to people who can help you. So please ask questions and get all the information, because it is information that is going to make you the king one day. And the last thing, don't stress. However tough it gets very disheartening to learn the very drastic things that kids do nowadays because of stupid things like results. I'm telling you guys, I've passed out school long time back. Those results have no value if what you're doing is from the heart. It has no value. Do not be stressed. Just ask yourself one thing. What's the worst that could happen? If you're giving a presentation to a big client and you're in this meeting with all these honchos and everyone's sitting over there and you mess up the presentation, what's the worst that will happen? That investor will not invest in your company. Chalo, you will get fired. Theek hai na? That's not the last company in the world. You can work for so many more. If you have self-confidence, you'll go to the best company in the world and convince them to hire you. And you'll go like, chalo, good that other company fired me. Anything will work out, but don't stress. Just change your perspective. Look at it from a wider perspective and everything will fall into place. Thank you so much.
Ladies and